o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Through the efforts of the Jackson-Vanik Amendment that her husband so courageously co-sponsored at a very different time in the history of the relationship between our country and that of the former Soviet Union, or then the Soviet Union. It really sparked the entire Soviet Jewry movement and started the emigration both to the United States, to Israel, and to other countries. It's a special honor to pay tribute to the family today. And it's because of them that Shuvu was able to start, and in fact that over 1 million people were able to emigrate both to Israel and the United States and pursue lives as free people. So thank you again very much.
Please welcome Congresswoman Fudge.
1 million Jews migrated to Israel. And I understand the network of Shuvu schools in Israel supports the needs of children from these immigrant families. For that, your organization can be justifiably proud.
Senator Grassley served with distinction as chairman of the Senate Finance Committee and is now ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. Gentlemen, please welcome Senator Chuck Grassley.
I was also able to follow on the principle that was established in Jackson-Vanik when I toured the old Soviet Union several times in the 1980s. And was able to do it for the cause of what we called then refusings. Soviet Jews that weren't able to take advantage of everything that was allowed under even the international agreement at that time, and do what we could to help that cause. We all owe Charlie a debt of gratitude for his leadership for freedom, and most importantly for religious freedom.
Congressman Darrell, Issa. Congressman Issa represents the people of California's 49th Congressional District, United States House of Representatives.
I'll take the liberty, though, of talking about the programs that you're working on today. Ultimately, we hear a lot about the right of return. We don't hear much about the right of return to Israel, the right of return for people to a promised land. And so the legacy that we're talking about is exactly that. The right of a free people to choose where they live.
Please join me in welcoming Congressman Fudge.
But it also highlights the value of education, the value of providing adequate schools, be they immigrants of recent origin or immigrants of historic origins, one of whom I am. And so I want to thank you so much for continuing in the memory of a member of this body.
Country and is a very strong supporter of the state of Israel.
And I'm glad that we're here to help Shuvu, because in the Soviet Union there was 70 years. The mission of the Gemara talks about the Romans prohibiting the study of Torah, prohibiting the study of Yiddishkeit. We read on Yom Kippur the story of the rabbis who were flayed alive by the Romans for the sin of teaching Torah. And the Soviets did the same thing. And a lot of the Soviet immigrants they were hungry for it, but they were not knowledgeable. And so groups that help with Jewish education and with education of Russian immigrants in the United States or in Israel are invaluable.
In 2009, Prime Minister Netanyahu appointed Michael Oren as the ambassador of the State of Israel to the United States. Please join me in introducing His Excellency Michael Oren, the Israeli ambassador to the United States.
We had people who had been cut off from their Jewish roots by the Soviet communism in which studying of Judaism was forbidden by law, was a crime, and go to prison for it. We had to teach them. And so we had these extraordinary individuals who had immense talents and immense learning, and we had to somehow galvanize them into full Israeli and Jewish citizens. And this is where Shuvu came in. This is where Shuvu came in over the course of the last 20 years, in building now 22 schools across the state of Israel, in providing top-rate education in the sciences, and other technical fields, and Jewish education, and molding these remarkable individuals into people who will further transform our society, our culture, our population, and transform. It's remarkable. It is a great, as we said, zchut. It's a great privilege to be a part of this, to witness this, and to know, you are the Vanek family, that you have been absolutely instrumental in making this happen.
The ambassador will help us make a presentation to Mrs. Vanek.
We met with some Jewish refugees in Russia, and we couldn't write. We could only write. We couldn't talk. It was closed, of course. And they shared a bottle of wine with us. And it was just a lovely experience. We never forgotten. And I'm so happy to have been so honored today to hear your words about Charlie. It's very beautiful.
Another person who I think should be remembered here today in this place is a rabbi named Rabbi Abraham Pam. I don't know if you ever met him, but he was a driving force for many years behind this institution and behind this work. And in Judaism, the greater you are, the more humble you're supposed to act. And in that way, he was a giant. I am a student, a disciple of another great rabbi, the leader in our generation, Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, whose name I'm sure you heard. Now, I remember when his wife had passed away, Rabbi Pam came to visit him. And that was a very major event in our community, and I feel compelled when something that was dear to his heart is being strengthened in the city where I'm privileged to serve, that I have to take the time and come and pay tribute to him as well.
It's an honor to welcome Congressman Engel, who represents this district includes Rockland County.
Russian Jews play such a major role in the life of Israel. I mean, a million Jews in Israel from the former Soviet Union. And Shuvu does all this terrific work with people in Israel, Russian Jews in Israel.
What better legacy of the Jackson-Vanek Amendment than the fact that there are some 15,000 kids who are learning every day in Israel thanks to the work of Shuvu. It really does close the circle. And I am, as a member of Congress, as a Jewish member of Congress, who spends every day, as I have my whole life, worried about our heritage, fighting anti-Semitism and standing up for the state of Israel, to have the opportunity to spend some time with all of you and with an organization that does so much to really further all of those aims. I want to thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the Democratic Whip, Steny Hoyer.
Thank you very much. I'm so honored and pleased to be here and to congratulate all of you for the extraordinary work that you have done and are doing. The schools and the efforts you've made in Israel today and the efforts that you made over the years to help those who were subject to discrimination and worse. Charles Vanek was a giant on behalf of the Jewish people, but more importantly and globally on behalf of justice, on behalf of international norms, and on behalf of us not doing business as usual with those who discriminate.
At focus schools, with our affiliate schools, we educate over 10,000 children.
Representative King, as chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, and also serves on the Financial Services Committee and Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
We also thank you for the service that you're providing as far as education in Israel. Many of you read all the controversy when I scheduled a series of hearings into the radicalization of the American Muslim community. I think it just brought out the worst in a lot of people, the best in others. As far as bringing out the worst in people, New York Times did 4 editorials condemning me, 2 front-page stories. I don't think mass murderers get that, that kind of coverage. But I got it, and why? Why were they so outraged? Because I was going to investigate a small percentage of people in the community who are being recruited by Al-Qaeda to fight against us. That's the reality.
Congressman McCarthy has long been a staunch supporter of the State of Israel throughout his career in public service. Please welcome the Majority Whip, Congressman McCarthy.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, and I do want to thank your chairman, Dave Peterman. I apologize for the delay. Up above you, we had a floor, and being the whip, you can't leave during the break. I first want to thank you for your work. When you think about what you've been able to commit to, the core of being able to teach students the idea of freedom and democracy, it's the responsibility of each generation to teach it to the next.
I wanted to come back here to salute you on your efforts to make sure that those who have emigrated from the Soviet Union, now Russia, to Israel, as well as here, have the opportunity to rekindle their heritage.
The Congressman was named ranking member of the Intelligence Committee in 2011. Please join me in welcoming Congressman Robsberger. Thank you.
I just want to acknowledge how you educate children coming from Russia to Israel and how the United States supports that. The bin Laden issue. I've been on the Intelligence Committee now for over 8 years, and we've had a lot of leads. But we got a briefing, Mike Rogers and I, in the end of January about this possible lead. And as it turned out, it was a good lead. People always ask you about the pictures. And I had to see the pictures only because of the fact that the Gang of 8 and the fact that we had to make sure that we could compare a live picture of bin Laden versus a dead picture. As soon as I saw the picture, clearly that was him. And that was where my opinion was.
Congresswoman Hayworth is my landsman. She's a fellow New Yorker. Very glad to have you join us today at a Shuvu.
Well, Shuvu, of course, is a manifestation of the values that we share, that respect for the human spirit, that desire to achieve and to elevate and to do ever greater things in service of a greater cause. And I commend all of you for what you do every day to advance that. And I want to thank you for the privilege of being with you today and the privilege of serving. And I look forward to hearing much more. Congratulations.